Hey Tracy, what should we do today? Let's watch this hit TV show with girls like you and me. It's we really like, and best of all, it's free. Square eyes are watching Geek Girl TV. Square eyes are watching Geek Girl TV. Amstrad, Spectrum, Caption, Winery, Apple, Mac, PC. Geek Girl TV. Television for the computer savvy.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Geek Girl TV. My theme song was written and produced by The Days, which you can check out at myspace.com/TheDaysGirls. If you hadn't noticed already, this is episode number 30. Wow. 30. The big 30. Yeah, really makes you think. You know, the hippies, who are all about 30 times 2 right now, are well remembered for saying never trust anyone over 30. I'd like to start off with a viewer comment. FX Robot writes, "No more headset? I know that in episode 27 you mentioned the headset was broken. You are not going to replace it? The headset was like Geek Girl gear. You know, the stylus and the headset. Oh well, guess I'll have to get used to you without the headset. And as soon as you do get used to me without a headset, that is the precise moment that I will get a new one, just to keep it fresh. It's actually easier to produce Geek Girl when I have a headset on, so I probably will replace it eventually. But for now, the show must go on." This past Memorial Day weekend, I had the chance to see several summer blockbuster movies, and I'd like to share with you what I thought of them. Spoiler alert! First up, Pirates of the Caribbean. For starters, I'd like to sum up the Pirates of the Caribbean movie franchise. In the first movie, there were some pirates, and there were some people out to get the pirates. In the second movie, almost anybody who was in the first movie and wasn't a pirate, in the second movie, is a pirate. In the third movie, almost anyone who was a pirate in the second movie is a pirate captain in the third. For more details, I'd like to share with you Pathogen's email. Pathogen, by the way, is a Letor, but I'll talk more about that later. For now, let's take a look at Pathogen's pun-riddled contribution. The movie is, in a seashell, akin to the crabs in Jack's Purgatory. Totally rocks. Although the movie does slow down in certain moments, but that's for sure. While the movie does have requisite piratey action throughout, it also weaves a tangled web of alliances and betrayals. And frankly, I think I could do without all the parley with the British. It's kept afloat, nevertheless, by some of the best performances I've seen for both main and support characters, the only notable exception being the rest of the pirate lords, which are only good for fighting, shouting, and just standing around looking piratish. Chow Yun-fat is awesome and a very powerful actor that, in my opinion, added a lot to what Johnny Depp and Geoffrey Rush had already done for the classic pirate image. Bill Nighy as Davy Jones is another kettle of fish, pun intended. I also liked the many faces of Johnny Depp's character, a window into his madness. And Keira Knightley's character got way cooler. Character was so cool that I enjoyed it so much that for once I was not distracted by her enormous teeth. In movie 3, she has completely shed her good governor-daughter graces, and she is given more action, better costumes, and better lines, so that she is finally a strong enough female character that I could identify with. Unlike the last movie, number 3 doesn't spend really any time on plot recap, so I recommend that you review the older movies before going out to see number 3. But like the second movie, I felt that the ending was more of a cliffhanger than a conclusion, leading up to number 4. Of the 4 movies, I believe the first one stands alone, but the next 3 are supposed to be a trilogy of sorts. So I'm really looking forward to number 4's sense of closure. Next up is Shrek 3. Background, I am a huge Shrek fan, but I didn't see Shrek 1 or 2 until they were out on DVD. I didn't see Shrek 1 because I thought it was gonna suck, but I couldn't have been more wrong. When I finally did see it, it instantly became one of my favorite movies ever, that I have now seen well over 100 times, because in college, when I first got my PS2 and a television, it was one of the 3 movies that I owned. I didn't see the second movie in theaters either, because I was really afraid that they were going to ruin Shrek. I couldn't see how they could possibly make a movie anywhere as good as the original, and I was pleasantly surprised. It was nearly as good as the original. I really liked how they expanded the world into Far, Far Away, and I really enjoyed the fairy godmother, who unfortunately isn't around for the third movie. I don't think that Shrek 3 was as uproariously funny as 1 and 2, but as a Shrek fan, I was happy to have more Shreky goodness in the world. In addition, you have to notice that the graphics are amazing. Much better than 1 and even 2. I'm talking about the fabulously rich textures and the incredibly realistic grass and trees and stuff. Just speculating, if they made a number 4, the babies would be grown up a little bit, and perhaps they could explore the Arthur myth a little bit more, and Morgaine could be the villain. Of all the movies that I saw this Memorial Day weekend, I was most disappointed with 28 Weeks Later. Now let me say that 28 Days Later is probably my favorite zombie movie, not including Shaun of the Dead, which is completely in a league of its own. But 28 Days Later is backed by a scientifically plausible premise. I don't really like horror movies on the whole because I find it hard to suspend my disbelief when the villain is some sort of evil, supernatural, Satan-backed force. I also found it extremely plausible that the rage virus didn't get off the British Isle. This is because the rage virus spread so quickly that even if an infected person did make it onto a plane, the chaos that would break out on board would probably make the plane go down in one way or another. I could think of a few ways that the rage virus could spread to the mainland by boat, but also pretty unlikely. 28 Weeks Later remains pretty much scientifically plausible by introducing a genetic abnormality. It's just the way the genetic abnormality is physically represented that is a little bit of a stretch. Where I feel the movie went wrong was apparently they didn't feel the zombies were scary enough. In the first movie, and most zombie movies, the protagonists spend most of their time running away from or fighting zombies. Well, in this movie, the protagonists do spend a lot of time fleeing, but it's not from the zombies. It's from the United States Army trying to contain the situation. And while that could be a good plot if the United States Army wanted to gun me down, well, in reality that would take about 2 seconds. But saying that I put a little bit of a fight about it, that could be a decent plot for a movie. But I paid to see a zombie movie, so I wasn't extremely happy that the villain turned out to be some sort of worst-case scenario police state. Lastly, I'd like to talk once again about the Litors, my merry band of superheroes and superhero wannabes. To be a Litor, you must meet 3 requirements. First up, to be a Litor, you must be leeter than the general populace. Also, to be a Litor, you must display leadership qualities. And thirdly, you must use your leet and not be a jerk about it. In other words, use your leet for good, not evil. Becoming a Litor is easy. Simply send your name and superpower to geekgirl@clevermedia.com. And for super special elite membership, include a picture. This week, my very special RL friend Captain Trips submits his super special elite membership application. The picture enclosed shows Captain Trips at his hero training in Fort Benning, Georgia. And the caption reads, "Future Heroes of America." Although Captain Trips doesn't mention what his power is, I think by the photograph it's obvious. Clearly, his power is the ability to copy himself into that entire division of nearly identical clones. That is indeed a pretty leet power. So welcome to the Litors, Captain Trips. Well, I do have more I'd like to share with you, but I'm out of time. So until next week, this is Geek Girl, signing off.